Before we begin, make sure you're somewhere quiet. Turn off the lights. Put on your headphones. Because the stories you're about to hear aren't just scary. These are the kinds of experiences people don't talk about. If you enjoy true horror stories, unsettling encounters, and disturbing events that happen to real people, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, let's begin. The first time it happened, I didn't know what sleep paralysis was. I thought I was dying. I was 19 and had just moved into my college dorm. The building was old, one of those brick dorms with narrow hallways, creaky floors, and radiators that hissed at night like something breathing behind the walls. My roommate hadn't moved in yet, so I had the room to myself. That night, I fell asleep around 2 a.m., exhausted from unpacking. I remember lying on my back, staring at the ceiling fan, watching the blades blur together as I drifted off. Then I woke up. At least, I thought I did. My eyes were open. I could see the room clearly. The dim orange glow from the hallway light leaked in under the door. My phone sat on the desk where I'd left it. The fan was still spinning slowly above me. But I couldn't move. I tried to roll onto my side. Nothing happened. I tried to lift my arm. My fingers didn't twitch. Panic set in fast. I tried to shout, but my mouth wouldn't open. It felt like my jaw was locked shut, like something was holding it in place. That's when I felt the weight. It pressed down on my chest slowly, deliberately, like someone sitting on me inch by inch. My breathing became shallow, forced. Each breath felt borrowed. And then I heard breathing that wasn't mine. It came from the corner of the room. Slow. Wet. Patient. I tried to turn my eyes toward the sound, but even that felt difficult. When I finally managed it, my heart nearly stopped. There was a shape standing near my desk. Tall. Too tall for the room. Its head nearly brushed the ceiling, but it was hunched forward, like it didn't want to be noticed yet. It didn't have a face. Not really. Just a suggestion of 2 darker patches where eyes should be, and a long vertical crack where a mouth might be. Its body looked like it was made of shadow, but thicker. Denser. Like smoke that had learned how to stand. It leaned forward. The weight on my chest increased. I tried to scream. The pressure crushed the sound before it could escape. The thing took one slow step toward my bed. And then, just as suddenly as it started, everything snapped back. I gasped, sucking in air like I'd been underwater. I bolted upright, heart racing, sweat soaking my sheets. The room was empty. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I Googled what happened. That's when I learned about sleep paralysis. The explanations were comforting on the surface: hallucinations, stress, the brain waking before the body. I told myself that's all it was. Until it started happening again. The second time was a week later. Same position. On my back. Same inability to move. But this time, the thing wasn't in the corner. It was standing beside my bed. Close enough that I could see texture in the darkness of its body, like ripples moving beneath its surface. It leaned over me, head tilted, as if studying my face. And this time, it spoke. Not out loud. Not with sound. The words appeared directly in my head. You're better at this now. The weight on my chest felt adjusted. Like it had learned exactly how much pressure to use. I cried when it released me. After that, it happened almost every night. Sometimes it stood in the doorway. Sometimes it sat on my chest. Sometimes I felt fingers wrap around my wrists, pinning them to the mattress. And every time, it stayed a little longer. I tried everything to stop it. I changed sleeping positions. I slept with lights on. I played music. I avoided naps. I even slept on the floor once. Nothing worked. The worst night came a month in. I woke up paralyzed again, but this time my eyes weren't open. I could see the room anyway. Every detail. Every shadow. The thing was sitting on my chest, straddling me. I could feel its weight, feel the mattress dip under it. I felt something brush my cheek. A finger. Cold. Too long. It traced down my face slowly, like it was memorizing me. "You don't fight anymore," it said inside my head. That's when I realized something horrifying. It wasn't just appearing during paralysis anymore. It knew my habits. It knew how long it took me to panic. It knew when I stopped struggling. It leaned close, and for the first time, I saw its eyes clearly. They weren't empty. They were watching. When it finally let me move, I threw up in the bathroom. I moved out of the dorm 2 weeks later. The paralysis stopped after that. Mostly. Years have passed since then. I still get it occasionally, but never like before. Except once. Last year. I woke up unable to move, staring at my bedroom ceiling in my apartment. I felt the familiar weight on my chest. But this time, there was no figure. No shadow. Just a whisper right beside my ear. "You learned how to wake up." I didn't open my eyes. I didn't move. And I didn't sleep on my back ever again. I didn't believe sleep paralysis could be dangerous. Uncomfortable, sure. Terrifying, maybe. But harmless. That belief is the reason I almost didn't survive what happened to me. I was 27, living alone in a small apartment after my divorce. I worked long hours, barely slept, and survived on caffeine and stress. My doctor warned me that my sleep schedule was destroying my health. That's when the episode started. At first, it was mild. I'd wake up unable to move for a few seconds. My body felt heavy, like I'd been wrapped in concrete. I could breathe, but every breath felt delayed. Like my lungs needed permission. I looked it up. Sleep paralysis. Stress-related. Common. I ignored it. The first time I heard the voice, I thought I was dreaming. I woke up paralyzed, staring at my bedroom door. The room was dark, lit only by moonlight through the blinds. My phone was charging on the nightstand. Everything looked normal. Then I heard my mother's voice. "Sweetheart." It came from the hallway. My heart jumped. My mother lived 3 hours away. She didn't have a key. But the voice was perfect. Her tone. Her rhythm. Even the slight hesitation she always had before saying my name. "Mom." I tried to say. Nothing came out. I heard footsteps approaching. Slow. Careful. "I didn't want to wake you," she said softly. But I was worried. The door opened. She stepped inside. I could see her silhouette clearly. Same height. Same posture. Same cardigan she always wore. Even the way she held her hands together when she was nervous. She sat on the edge of my bed. The mattress dipped. I felt it. Her hand brushed my arm. Warm. Solid. "You've been so tired lately," she said. "You should rest." Something felt wrong. My mother never touched me like that. Not anymore. Not since I was a kid. This touch lingered too long. Her fingers pressed slightly harder with each second. I tried to scream. She leaned closer. Her face came into the moonlight. Her eyes were wrong. Too still. Too focused. Like glass. Her mouth smiled, but it didn't match the rest of her face. "You don't need to wake up," she whispered. "I'll take care of you." That's when I realized I couldn't feel my legs at all. I felt something slide under the blanket. Not hands. Something longer. Thicker. Cold. I felt pressure on my chest, not crushing like in movies, but firm. Controlled. Like restraint. I blacked out. When I woke up for real, it was morning. My alarm was going off. My sheets were twisted, soaked with sweat. I called my mother immediately. She answered groggily. She hadn't left her house. She hadn't visited. She hadn't even spoken to me the night before. The episodes escalated after that. The voice came back. Sometimes it was my mother. Sometimes my ex-wife. Once, it was my childhood best friend who had died years earlier. The voice always sounded loving. Concerned. Familiar. And it always tried to convince me not to move. You're safe. Just rest. Don't fight it. The paralysis lasted longer each time. I started waking up with bruises on my arms. Small ones. Finger-shaped. I told my doctor. He adjusted my medication and told me stress can cause physical symptoms during parasomnia. I wanted to believe him. The worst episode happened on a Sunday afternoon. I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up paralyzed, staring at the ceiling fan. I heard my mother's voice again, but this time it came from right beside me. "You're getting better at staying still," she said. I felt her breath on my face. I forced my eyes to move. She was inches away. Her face was unfinished. Like someone had tried to copy my mother from memory and failed halfway through. The skin sagged. The smile twitched. The eyes blinked too slowly. Her mouth opened wider than it should have. I can stay longer now. I felt something wrap around my ankle. Then my wrist. Then my throat. I don't know how long it lasted. When I woke up, my neck hurt. The next morning, I noticed something that broke me. There were fingerprints on my throat. Not bruises. Indentations. I didn't sleep alone after that. I stayed with friends. Slept with lights on. Slept sitting up. The paralysis stopped. Mostly. But sometimes, when I'm half asleep, I hear my mother's voice whisper from the hallway. And I don't answer. Because whatever learned how to sound like her was never trying to comfort me. It was trying to teach me how to stay still. I used to think sleep paralysis only happened when you were asleep. That your mind was dreaming while your body lagged behind. I was wrong. What happened to me didn't begin in sleep. It began while I was fully awake. I was 31 and working as a freelance editor, which meant long hours staring at a screen and sleeping whenever my body finally gave up. My sleep schedule was terrible, but nothing unusual, no drugs, no alcohol, no medication. The first sign something was wrong came one night around 11 p.m. I was lying in bed, scrolling on my phone, wide awake. Lights on. TV playing quietly in the background. I remember checking the time because I hadn't even started feeling sleepy yet. That's when my right hand stopped responding. At first, I thought it had fallen asleep. Pins and needles. Normal. But when I tried to move my fingers, nothing happened. No tingling. No numbness. Just absence. I stared at my hand. It looked normal. I tried lifting my arm. Nothing. Panic surged through me. I tried to sit up. My body didn't respond. I wasn't asleep. I hadn't drifted off. I was fully conscious, staring at my ceiling fan, hearing the TV, feeling my heart pound harder with every second. And I couldn't move. My breathing became shallow, not because something was pressing on my chest, but because fear was tightening everything. Then I felt it. Not weight. Not pressure. A sensation like something had noticed me. I felt it from the corner of the room. That unmistakable awareness you get when someone is staring at you. I forced my eyes to shift. There was nothing there. But the feeling didn't go away. It moved. Slowly. From the corner, toward my bed. I tried to scream. My mouth didn't open. I tried to blink rapidly. My eyelids barely fluttered. Then I felt something brush my foot. Just a light touch. Testing. I felt my toes curl on their own, without my permission. That's when I realized something was deeply wrong. My body wasn't frozen. It was being controlled. My fingers twitched. My wrist rotated slightly. My leg shifted under the blanket, inch by inch. I wasn't paralyzed. I was being overridden. Inside my head, I screamed. Inside my body, something else was learning how to move me. A thought appeared in my mind that wasn't mine. Not a voice. Not words spoken aloud. Just understanding. You're awake for this one. My head turned slightly to the left. I didn't do it. My eyes followed. Still nothing visible. But I felt it lean closer. The air near my face felt colder. Thicker. Like breathing through damp fabric. My jaw opened slowly. Painfully. My tongue pressed against the roof of my mouth without my control. I felt tears slide down my temples. And then, finally, my body snapped free. I gasped, jerking upright so hard I nearly fell out of bed. The room was exactly as it had been. Lights on. TV playing. Only 10 seconds had passed. I didn't sleep that night. I told myself it was a one-time neurological glitch. Stress. Exhaustion. Anxiety. I was wrong. It happened again 2 nights later. This time, I was sitting on the couch. Wide awake. Laptop open. Mid-sentence in an email. My fingers stopped moving. The cursor blinked. My hand stayed on the keyboard. I tried to stand. Nothing. The room felt closer. Like the walls had leaned in. That same sensation returned. That awareness. This time, I felt fingers curl around my wrist. I watched my hand lift slightly off the keyboard. My fingers tapped a key. Delete. 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 I tried to scream. My mouth smiled instead. Not a full smile. Just enough to feel wrong. You're easier like this, the thought said. My head turned toward the hallway. The hallway was dark. Too dark. Darker than it should have been. I felt my body begin to stand. That's when my control snapped back again. I collapsed onto the couch, shaking violently. I checked my email. The sentence I'd been typing was gone. Replaced by a single line. Still awake. I didn't sleep at home after that. I stayed with my sister for a week. Nothing happened. No paralysis. No sensations. No loss of control. I started to believe it was tied to my apartment. So I went back. The 3rd episode happened the moment I lay down. Not asleep. Not drifting. The lights were still on. My body froze instantly. And this time, it didn't pretend to be gentle. My limbs lifted. My head turned sharply toward the bedroom door. The door was open. Something stood in the doorway. I couldn't see details. Not a shape. Not a face. Just a distortion, like heat rising from asphalt. My body sat up. My feet swung over the bed. I felt myself stand. Step forward. Inside my head, I begged. I pleaded. I promised anything. The thought returned, calm and patient. You keep trying to sleep. I keep finding you awake. I reached the doorway. My hand lifted toward the darkness. My fingers stretched. And then, my sister shook me awake. I screamed so loud she thought I was being attacked. I was on her couch. Miles away from my apartment. Standing.